Hi everyone, welcome to BCL's first Tình Tuesday. This is our first segment. Stay tuned for each Tuesday as we go through more and more confessions and give y'all our mini perspective on love advice, our little spiels, and our reactions to all your confessions. And don't worry, we haven't gone through your confession today. It was a tough choice having to filter out so many of them, but we will get to them eventually as each Tuesday come along. So stay tuned. I'm so excited today because we have two special guests with us, Linda and Tina. Yay! We're gonna get started with our first confession.
That's a lot, actually.
I guess we can get started on talking about how to tell our parents about dating. You guys wanna?
So, as of right now, I'm coming to almost like 2 years mark of dating my boyfriend, and I told my parents. I mean, I didn't do the best way, like the way that I told my parents probably wasn't the best, because I kind of just like was at Starbucks with them, and I kind of just dropped the bomb. I was like, oh yeah, so like I'm dating someone. Pow. And my mom she kind of knew that I was like seeing someone, but she just wanted me to kind of say it. But at the end, they were pretty supportive. Like they weren't against it. They weren't like, oh my god, you need to like break up with him and everything like that. They're just kind of like, I guess it's like mutual. Like they're just kind of like, oh, okay, well, you know, I guess if you're dating, you're dating. But obviously they've told me, you know, focus on studying. Like I think my mom told me like many times, like it's okay if things don't work out, like just break up. Like she kept telling me that. So I was kind of like, oh wait, like what are you trying to say? But I think she was coming from like a comforting side, because she didn't want me to like be in a relationship where I wasn't happy and I was afraid to break up because I've told them. Because I think from our parents' perspective is that, or at least for Asian parents, they want you to be in a relationship where it's like a long-term relationship. So they don't want it to be like a few months and stuff. Overall, like I think they were pretty supportive, and I mean, they've always, like, every week they invite my boyfriend over for, like, dinner and stuff. So they've been really, really well and very supportive of my relationship. That could have probably be a little bit different if I was in high school, like if I started dating in high school. As for Tina, you know that you're in a long relationship with their man. Do you want to tell us how your parents reacted, or how you told your parents?
So, like, I've been dating my boyfriend for 6 years or something. I don't know. I don't really keep track. He's the one that does it. So, since it was, like, in high school, my parents were like, no, you can't date. You can't do that. You got to focus on your studies. So, like, I literally kept it a secret till, like, my last year of high school. And then one time I was at a family gathering, and then my aunt basically kind of, like, saw me, and she's like, Tina looks so happy. She probably has a boyfriend. Then the car ride home, my mom confronted me. She's like, you have a boyfriend? And I was like, yeah.
Pow.
And then she started asking questions about him. So that's like how my mom started to know. And then a week later, she's like, you have to break up with him. And I was like, yeah, sure. And I like shrugged it off, and I just dated him. I was like, whatever. My brother knew, like I told him, but I lied to him at first because I thought he was gonna snitch me out. And then like my cousins were, like me and my cousins like would kind of live in the same area, so like my cousins knew and all. So basically like most of my family knew except for like the adults. And then like I guess during grad year, like grade 12, I just told my parents, and they were kind of like whatever. And then I guess since I'm in university, they don't really care that much. Like I'm still focusing on my studies, like I balance it and everything. So for me, I'm kind of like rebellious. I don't really care what my parents think. I kind of just do whatever I want.
Pow.
Like once in a while, like he'll come over like for family gatherings, and like that's everything. That's my experience on telling my parents. They don't really, I don't think they care. I don't know. Yeah.
I think it's always like the first step in telling your parents is like super scary, especially if you've never told them before. But like, as Linda and Tina's experience, like it's not as bad as we think it could be. Like, if you're at a good spot, like if you're not out of high school, you're already in college, doing your own thing, just breaking the news to them, be like, yes, I have a boyfriend, and then they'll maybe take it better than you anticipate. It's also like your life and your happiness. Like Tina doesn't really, like her parents can't really dictate how she feels with her boyfriend. So then like similarly to that, I think whoever made this confession, like if you just break it to them, it's not gonna really change how you feel towards your boyfriend. So
Yeah, and I think another one to add on to is that the only reason your parents might be kind of not supportive at first when you say it is because maybe it's like your first boyfriend, it's like the first guy that you've told them, so they're a little bit like hesitant because especially with long distance relationship, they don't get that opportunity to see him in person, so it might take a little bit more of like convincing or you kind of talking more about your significant other to your parents for them to kind of see eye to eye on what you see on your boyfriend.
I think for long distance relationships, like it's hard because you can't see them, and it's harder when you're like your friends are all dating and they get to see their boyfriends. It kind of makes you feel like you're out of the loop or kind of on the sidelines watching. But again, it's kind of like your relationship and it's not your friends. So it's really hard to compare relationships with each other because you guys are your own people, and your boyfriend, you like, you know, got together despite the distance, and that's already like a hard obstacle in itself. So if you could bypass that, I think like just being able to have open communication with each other, being very transparent with your feelings, keeping each other updated on your lives because you guys aren't together. You guys don't know how each of you is like living your life. So just having open communication, trust, and yeah, I feel like open communication and trust is like the two key factors you would kind of need. And then in terms of like dates and stuff, you can always have like online dates. I know it sucks and it's not like in person, but just having the thought of like, oh, like once COVID's over, you guys can reunite. It's gonna be worth it, right?
Seen on TikToks a lot of this like, I guess like it's a love box, I think it's called, and you could like write messages to each other, and it's kind of made for people who are like far apart, because I think that's another cute way, like instead of just like texting or calling like throughout the day, if you guys are just thinking about each other, you could just write a little message, and then, you know, I think the love box has like a heart on it and then it like circles around or something. It's just a really cute invention. So
another thing is you can always send them like your favorite things. Like I've had a guy send me his like hoodie before just so I could like see or like have his hoodie, because like, you know, like when you're dating locally, like you can just like steal your boyfriend's hoodies, but like when you're dating long distance, that's really not an option. You can't just like fly over there and steal a hoodie. And you can even like write each other letters, have like date nights, then like have a cute date night and do it weekly, because like even people who are dating locally, it's really important to have like frequent dates. I don't know, depends on each couple, but frequent dates, right? So similarly to that, I think LDR is especially harder because you don't get to see each other physically, but you can still incorporate that frequent dating however you like. That's it. You guys have anything else to add?
moving on to our next confession.
For this next confession, we have Mai joining us.
I personally never dated a Vietnamese, but I also never dated a non-Asian person, so this is kind of out of hand. But I feel like most parents, though, if they see that you truly like the person and you guys are nice to each other, they would go against it at first, but then if it's a good thing for you, then I don't think that they would. be very against it. Like everyone's parents just want their children to be happy. If you're happy, they'll support you.
Personally, I've never dated anyone who's actually vegan before. Like my boyfriend right now, he's Taiwanese, so it doesn't really apply to me because my parents also don't really care if I date vegan. Like they prefer me dating like a Chinese person more than a Vietnamese person. The background story is that I'm actually full like Chinese, like ancestor wise, so that kind of explains why my parents prefer me to date someone who's Chinese. But yeah, like when I told my parents that my boyfriend was Taiwanese, like they weren't really against it. It was just kind of like the hardest part was the language barrier, because obviously my parents didn't know how to speak Mandarin, and then my boyfriend also didn't know how to speak Vietnamese, so I was kind of the middle person to translate their conversation. So I think the hardest part for me was that I had to kind of create the conversation and kind of like make it keep on going. It's probably one of the things that your parents might be a little bit I guess against, is that they are afraid that they can't communicate with their significant others, then like cultural differences. So that's kind of my experience.
My boyfriend's half Viet and half Chinese, and the big thing is just the language barrier. So, but then my parents, I know like they're trying, like they do talk to me in English and stuff, like at family gatherings, to like get to know them and everything. But I feel like even if you're dating in a biracial relationship, your parents, like if they're against it at first, it takes time for them to accept it. Like I have like relatives that are dating non-Asians, and I guess their parents were against it at first, but they see that their child is happy and doing what's for them, what's best for them, and they'll go for it. Like they'll support it. Eventually, in the end, it just takes time.
So my aunt has dated a African American, and she is happily married with him too. So I guess it's not that, I guess, uncommon, but it's also not common, but it does happen. Because like in my family, if I have a aunt who is Filipino that married in, I have like an African American uncle that married in, I have like a white uncle or Caucasian uncle that married in. So I guess in a sense for me, like I don't see it as really different. I see it as like what Tina said, at the end of the day, like if your child is happy, then your parents will be happy too. And as long as you kind of don't push your culture onto his, and he doesn't push his culture onto yours, and there's like a happy balance, and I think that's great. Like nothing nothing bad will happen.
Yeah, just to kind of like add on to that, it's just like humans technically are always scared of something that's different, right? Like our parents are so used to like talking to just Viet people. They're not very used to like speaking other languages or like being exposed to different cultures. They grew up in a very different like environment, so that's why they're not as used to accepting or like easily accepting like other cultures or like languages into their lives. So like seeing something that's so different might scare them a bit. We want to try to understand where they're coming from as well. Just being able to prove to them that you are happy and that your significant other is willing to communicate with them, however that may look like. Like some people teach their boyfriends like some Vietnamese words, like something like xin chào, go jo khỏe không, like something like that. Like simple phrases just to show like, hey, I'm here, I'm trying, I'm making the effort to communicate with you. Your parents will be like, oh, this boyfriend of hers is trying, they're making an effort, we should maybe consider it. Like they might not show it because Asian parents don't like showing their affection or emotions that much. They cut us fruit to say sorry, for goodness sake. But like they might not show it right away, and it might take like a short while. But if you're able to wait it out, if you're able to kind of just stay strong through their criticism, I think at the end it will be fruitful for you.
Like Kelly said, they're afraid of change. They like things to be consistent, right? So with something that is different, they feel very uncomfortable. And just be very patient, because at the end of the day, like they're not doing it because they don't love you or anything. They are doing it because that's apparently how Asian parents express love with criticism. But just be patient, because you are really the only person that can change their mind. Like, no one else can really change your parents' mindset but you. Just remember that it's going to get better. Like, it'll always get better. It's like
Go on.
Go lang, yeah.
Go on. Okay. And now on to our last love advice request for the day.
First thing is, don't suck it up and finish your degree if you don't like what you're doing. I guess like a little like story, but in grade 12, one of my high school teacher, he always like told his students that just major in something you love, just do something that you love, because you're spending a lot of money for your degree, especially from you who are in like the USA. I'm pretty sure spending a lot of money on that degree. So do not just do it because your parents is telling you, oh, be a lawyer. Like, don't do it because it seems like they've already set their mind and they've already set like a path for you, because you're going to be very unhappy at the end. And once you get a degree, they're obviously going to be like, okay, now go to law school. And law school is really expensive, so you're going to also be more sad and unhappy with your life because you're following what your parents did. But I guess from like a personal like advice, like I'm also a major in political science too. I personally like it. I started off as a intended philosophy major, but I hated it, so I switched to political science because I've always had like my advisors, my teachers and everything like telling me like, don't do a major if you don't like it, and it's okay to change majors. There's nothing wrong with it. And I think Kelly can also say a lot about that too, because she personally has switched her major, I think twice. So it's like the hardest thing is that they're paying for your tuition. So I guess first off is maybe if you haven't found a job yet, is to maybe get a part-time job and start kind of saving up for however much film school costs, because I think the first thing that your parents probably would do if they know that you don't want to pursue the major that they've already decided for you is that they're probably not going to pay for your film studies like tuition. So the first part is probably just saving up and being independent. I think being independent from your parents is also a really good start too.
Yeah, I just want to add on that, like, yes, they're paying for your tuition, but like the more you stay in it, the more unhappy you will be, but also the more entangled you will be, because once you finish a degree, that will be a waste of a degree because you have no intention of continuing on to law school. Now, your parents have also paid for the entire undergrad and expecting you to pursue law school, and if you're not doing that, they will feel that they wasted money as well. I think that the first step is to have an open conversation with them. And I know that's like a lot easier said than done, but do it for the one time, at least do it once. And if they don't listen, at least you tried. And like Linda said, it's like, I know like in the USA it's like very different than Canada, but independence is something that's like very, I think, crucial if you want to kind of break apart from your parents' expectations. Like I obviously know that they're coming from like a place of love or whatever, but these expectations can be quite toxic because to be very frank, like you're not living your life for your parents, you're living it for your own self, because they're not going to be there all the way till the end of your life. Like let's say like 20 years down the road and you're stuck in this job that you really hate, it's just not going to be very pretty for you and you're going to have all these regrets. I know it's going to be like a hard fight or maybe like even like a hard time having this conversation with your parents, but perhaps like we never know what our parents might think. Like when the first time I switched my major, I was super scared of telling them as well. I was in psychology, but I was switching to kin. And once I switched to kin, like that switch wasn't as big of a change for them. They're like, oh, okay, like, she's doing something that's in STEM. But then when I wanted to switch my major again, that was when it was kind of like a harder conversation because they're like, you don't know what you're doing. Like, you're very unsure. You're clearly just a child. And they will most likely just like hit it on you like, you don't know what you're doing. This is just like a phase. and you just have to fight, be like, yo, I'm very sure of this. And also, like, it's really hard to make decisions, like life-changing decisions at the age of like 19, 20. Like, we can't make decisions like that that's going to affect the rest of our life. So it is important to kind of explore around. So you need to like, kind of tell them that, like, be very open with them at least once, so you can have all your feelings laid on a table. And if they can't respect that, and if they can't, take that, then that's when you like would do what Linda say, and like kind of just have to show them that you are indeed passionate about this, that you are capable of doing this, and perhaps then they'll change their mind and actually support you.
If you're using your own money to do it, they can't really say anything a lot. Like, it's not their money, it's your money, it's your choice, right? And that's what kind of why I said like maybe the big part is to be independent from them, because like what you said, they're paying for your tuition. And so like for me, I know that because I paid my own tuition for my own like education, my parents don't get to say as much as maybe someone else's parents who are paying for like their kids' tuition, right? So the important part is to be independent, and you want to, like, parents will shelter you a lot, and that's how they show love. But then also when they shelter you, it also can be very toxic. And so it's important that if you want to do something that it's not what your parents have kind of created or lay the path for you, is that to make sure that you can show them that you're like independent.
And some people stay in their degree because there is some relation to the job that they want. Like, it's still in a STEM area, it's still in the field of interest, right? But yours is very on different sides of the spectrum, and that's why I think it's not going to be very beneficial to either you or your parents at all, like to any of you, if you just suck it up and finish a degree, like you say, because at the end of the day, this conversation is bound to happen sooner or later. I personally think this conversation should happen as soon as possible, because it's like ripping off the Band-Aid. If you wait it out, this conversation is only going to get harder. So
I think I want to pursue a career in health science. I haven't decided yet. I'm kind of just going with the flow. But when I told my parents that I didn't want to go to health science and I wanted to do another program at BCIT, which is another school in Vancouver or like the Western Canada area, my parents, they did question me a lot. They're like, why, how long will it take? How much will it be? When will you be done? Like, and I wasn't prepared to answer those questions. So I always said, I don't know. I always shrugged my shoulders. So if you do pursue a career and like do your, like follow your dreams basically in film studies, be prepared to like answer the questions that your parents may have when you encounter this conversation with them. And they may be like, same with like relationships, like other problems that Asian parents may have. They may be against it at first, but they eventually become like, they'll accept it and see how happy you are, because that's what's most important to them, is your happiness and like your well-being and stuff. So don't suck it up and finish the degree. Just like tell your parents, in my opinion.
Yeah, just to top on that, if you're passionate about film making, then do a film to convince them. Show them your capability, show them what you can do with it, why you want to go into it, to have a more representative of like Asian or Vietnamese in the film making industry, which there's not a lot right now. Tell them why you want to do it and show them your capability. That would definitely convince them more.
I think that's everything for this one.
Yeah.
Good luck, whoever submitted this confession. We're rooting for you. Keep us updated. So the first one, hey BCL, why is everyone so cute? And this one's from Canada. This one's so sweet.
That is actually really cute though. I always say like to my Uber that we have like such a good looking Uber, because I was just like, everyone's so freaking pretty and cute. So I'm just like, I'm so thankful that someone outside of the Uber, someone that's not me, is saying this, because yeah, I agree. Our Uber is like, we looking great.
I like literally have a running line that I say I simp for my VCL e-board, and it's not a joke, guys. Like, but yeah, thank you so much. This is really sweet.
Yeah.
I
knew
wonder, I wonder if
Thank you for supporting me so much. Yeah.
this is so sweet. I believe I know who this is from because I've seen the poster before, so thank you so much.
I was gonna be like, if y'all need kisses, I was like, if y'all need kisses,
If y'all need kisses, come out to the auction.
Now we have a very exciting event that's coming up. So if y'all want kisses from Kelly, stay tuned and y'all can get your kisses.
So, to the person shooting their shot from Southwest, I hope David accepts your shot. This one is really cute. These are
That
some
was actually really cute. I love the penguin. That like throws me back to like my childhood. I don't know if you guys remember watching like, I don't know what the show's called, but it's
yeah, it's like Pengu or something. I forgot. I really like don't remember.
I don't know, but yeah, okay. It's a cute ass meme. Ew.
Will Sally accept this shot? TBD. Not from Vancouver.
That's so cute though. The little meme is so adorable. Okay. Well, who do you guys think that they're simping for in our e-board?
I mean, I think it's Kelly because Kelly has a lot of Canada connection.
That's true. I think it's also Kelly too.
I think
Kelly's
it's definitely
very popular in our e-board.
I think
the men.
definitely Linda. Or yeah, I think it's Linda. I'm not quite branched out in Vancouver. I'm more branched out like, you know, in the States and stuff. So if this person, it's very obvious that it is from Vancouver. So I think it's for Linda.
I mean, if it's you, then let me know.
You know, whoever it is, maybe it's time you come shoot your shot because all our members are very nice. Our entire e-board's very nice. We would love to meet and be friends with y'all. So, yeah.
Yeah, I love the meme though. It's really, really cute.
Thank you everyone for coming today to our first Din Tuesday. Stay tuned as we gather around every Tuesday to read your confessions and play Love Doctors for y'all. Hopefully you will stay tuned with us and send us some more confessions.
Thank you, everyone.